Greetings, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the official Master Force Coach podcast. I'm Mushim Suit, your guide to this transformative journey. At Master Force International, we believe that greatness resides within each and every one of us, waiting to be unleashed. Whether you're a seasoned leader, an aspiring entrepreneur, or simply seeking to elevate your life, this podcast is your sanctuary for inspiration, motivation, and actionable insights. Join us every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern as we dive deep into the art and science of leadership, personal growth, and the power of the human spirit. Each week, we'll explore a new theme, from mastering the art of communication to cultivating resilience in times of adversity. Alongside special guests and Master Force coaches, trailblazers, visionaries, and thought leaders, we'll uncover the secrets to unlocking your spiritual, personal, and professional success. Thank you for being here. And remember, we are ascending.
Hey, how are you, lovers and love of cosmic weather? Okay, this is Mother Mecca 115 bringing you the cosmic weather report from the week of May 26th, okay, which is today. Happy Sunday, y'all. But what we're going to do is go back to yesterday, which was May 25th. Now, the ruling planet Jupiter entered Gemini, okay, and it's going to be a year-long stay. Now, let me tell you what's going to be happening here. So it is bound to change your relationship status if you're single. So get ready to get booed up, do that. Okay. And if you are in a relationship, you should see an increase in your partner's finances. Now, men, don't get too crazy because women like to buy gifts too. So it goes either way. Okay. And so then Jupiter in Gemini brings a whole new slew of people into our lives. Okay. So that can be friends, clients, and even financial backers or two, which is really, really great. To talk about a little bit about Jupiter and Gemini, Jupiter likes to expand. It is an expansive energy. It just brings so much. It is macro, right? And then Gemini, they like to get down to minute pieces. It's a micro energy. Every little thing matters. And so it will be a small little clash, and that may bring some, different. Now, some of these friends, clients may not be really what you need because it may be that clash, but you're going to work it out because Jupiter is the ruler, right? And so he is expansive, and that way it's going to bring more of the positive. Jupiter likes to expand. So don't go into positive. Don't go into the negativity or anything that draws you in the darkness. Go to that light and it's going to work for you. Okay. Now, the destiny card for today, let's get it on and push on through this week, is the Six of Clubs. I had just posted something about the Six of Spades, but now because sixes are fate cards. Okay. So the card of intuition is the Six of Clubs. And then today is going to be stronger than usual. So your intuition, listen to it. It's going to be popping. Okay. So it is responsible for speech and communication. It's a lot going on with this card. It's like 3 slides. So just let's take our time and dig into that. So here you're going to be managing compromises to maintain a peaceful surrounding. Now, remember, I told you yesterday was bringing in that Gemini, and because it's bringing in that Gemini and Jupiter, that's where you're getting some of that, where you may have to do some compromises. Go ahead and compromise because it's going to benefit you. Remember, you're going to want that expansion to a peaceful surrounding. If it's not about peace, some people say if it don't make money, if it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't bring peace to me, it doesn't make sense. Okay. Now, also with this destiny card, it shows up. When it shows up, situations will arise. Remember, I told you that situations are going to arise to promote balancing your life. Whatever is out of balance will have to be adjusted. Here comes the fate, baby. So there may be karmic debts to pay. Karma can be good or bad. Even though some people say there's really no good and bad, it just is. To you, or whatever you believe in, that may be some good or bad that is depending on your past life. Okay. I was thinking about this when I was a young girl. This always been to me. I asked my granddaddy, I said, why is some people crackheads? Why are some people drunks? Why are some people in abusive relationships? Why is this stuff? And my granddad would say, well, it's based on what they did in their past life. It may have carried on if they didn't take care of it. Now, this is a Christian deacon, okay? But anyway, so that karma that you promised, that you spoke out of your mouth. See, we always want to talk. We always want to say things. And you were talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna pay that. And then you ran on out. Your time was up in that past life. Now you're over here, and these statements that you made, let's see what's gonna happen to them. You better be ready to make good on your promises. You better be ready to make it happen. And this is the thing. Remember, I told you this is the energy that I'm feeling. You need to be willing to pay it up to make it feel easy for you. Do not be in here acting like you got an attitude because you got to pay something back that you already said that you was going to pay. Don't do that. Remember, this is the season Jupiter is in. What you want to expand? Do you want to expand that negativity or do you want to expand that positive? Be happy, baby. Here, I owe you this. I spoke this out my mouth. I said I was going to pay it back. Be willing to do that. And it's coming back to you and for you. So don't be salty. Okay. Now, now this is universally to our life. Okay. The 6 of club indicates a special purpose in our life. And that's much to do with higher knowledge. So think about this. A harbinger. Okay. Considered like John the Baptist. 6 of clubs is considered like the John Baptist card or the Waymaker's card. Okay. John the Baptist came before Jesus. Okay. He came to bring the good news that he was coming. So let me tell you about that. If you're a believer or not, it is something coming for you. Okay. And we got a lot of time to make that happen. You either going to take it and run with it and say, yay, I got this. I got it going on. Or you're going to sit and you're going to whine and cry and bring more negativity to your life. So let's let that go. Okay. Now, our moon phase for today is a waning gibbous. Okay. And the key word is communication. See, the 6 of clubs, anytime you see a clubs, it's communication anyway. Now, let me say this. For people that may have a hard time, and I don't think people that watch this show may, but I post this on my Facebook page. So there's no telling. And it's also on YouTube who will actually see this. Now, the 6 of club. Okay, now that's a destiny card. That is about communication. The waning gibbous. Oh, it just fell on that day. That's about communication as well. I'm not saying I don't believe in coincidence. That's what I've been taught. Okay. So if you want to say, oh, it's a coinky fine. I don't, regardless. Communication is key. It is falling. This is about the moon. And then we're talking about the destiny. Okay. Now, we share the information that was revealed during the new moon phase. I'm telling you, I can't be in the house when these new moons and full moons and all these things are coming on. I can't be in the house. And that should say full moon because we had the new moon already. And that should say the full moon phase. Okay. But listen, all these phases keep coming on and it compile on each other anyway. So with this insight, it connects with the community. It solidifies plans and the support that we get from others will help our goals come to fruition. Remember, we are working on expansion. It talked about new clients. It talked about new business partners. It talked about one or two financial backers. I know that I've been talking about where my business is going. So I just be feeling it and I just let it come on in. So I'm ready and I'm glad to meet you. I know I'm gonna meet you and I'm glad to meet you. You got to speak those things that concerns you and put it on top of your list of things that you want to do, speaking positive into your life and all those things, and be willing and open. Some of us are so introverted that we don't like to meet new people. We don't like to do it. This is the time to give that up. This is the time to give it up, because you're going to meet new people and things that's going to bring a lot to your life. Okay. Now, the moon phase on the 30th. Okay. So, we had today's the 26th. We got about 4 more days. So it's going to be the wane and gibbous going, over these days. And then you're going to have the last quarter. Okay. And that just brings readjustment. That's what the key word is. So you're going to we will accomplish our goals during the wane and gibbous phase. And then during the last quarter, we can sit back, and relax and watch the results of our efforts unfold. Sometimes we still running. We still running. But sometimes you're going to go ahead and sit back. Okay. So it's so funny because, I'm in North Carolina, but I will be, in North Carolina. So guess what? It's so funny because while I'm in North Carolina here, I'll be here till the 26th, 27th, and the 28th, right? I know I'm going to meet some new people because it's so funny that I realized that DoorDash, you're able to DoorDash wherever you are across America. So I said, I'm not going to sit here. Money comes to me easily wherever I am. So I'm like, when I'm doing some downtime and I'm going to do that. And that's why I know I'm going to meet these new people and do all these things. And then I'll be back home and I'll be able to sit and chill and readjust, right? And be able to sit back, relax, and watch these results unfold that I had over these next courses of the day. Now, okay, so I think that was important because let's go back. Because remember, this is important here because when this happened, this is the time that you got to go all sit back. Here's a reflection piece. We want to sit back and we want to think about what happened when this happened for us last week on Sunday, because we can't keep just boom, 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 boom. Because remember, it said that now from that full moon that we had, which was on the 19th, and we had all these other things, we were supposed to set some personal goals. So now I want you to think about, that's why I left this here, because I was like, I want to talk about a reflection. What can you reflect on when you set these personal goals, right? Did you do these preparations, and how did it cultivate some sustainability? Because guess what? It's still talking about balance. And it was talking about this community. So what did you do? I want you to think about that, because it makes no sense for us to talk about this every week and then we're not going to get that done. Okay. So I'm going to have a reflection piece that I always do, because I want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do. Okay. Now, the health tip of the week is also, and this is so funny because I was just talking to one of my coworkers, and she's having some problem with her liver. And I was telling her, I was about to tell her, I can get her a tea. She was like, oh, but when you have breast cancer, you got to make sure to. And so I was telling her, I was literally going to tell her chaga tea, which is the chaga mushroom. And so she says, yeah, I'm drinking this mushroom tea and it has all these things. And then I said, well, I was going to tell you chaga. So she's like, oh, yeah, that's like the main one in there. So we know that this chaga needs to be pushed. And she's also talking about lion's mane. And I got to tell y'all again, I saw my 97-year-old client. He is doing well. I'm telling you guys, please trust me on this. You have to drink these teas. It strengthens your immune system, lowers your blood sugar and cholesterol levels, and it supports digestive health and protects against cancer. So you can't say you don't want the breast cancer to flare up, so you don't take care of the liver. You got to find something that works for everything. Okay, you see all of this that this chaga mushroom does. Okay, now I hope you enjoyed your report for this week, lovers and lovettes, of the cosmic weather report given by Mother Mecca, which is me. And you know how you can contact me. You can text me at 708-253-8795. Reach me on Facebook under my Mecca C. Eves page. It's jumping, y'all. It's jumping. Help me get to 10K. Okay. And then TikTok at Mother Mecca 115. I love you because you're individually you. See you next time. See you next week.
Welcome to another episode of the Master Force Coaches Podcast. We are so excited that this is our 9th episode of We Love to Read. We have had some fabulous conversations about books that we think will change and move your life, and we hope that you have been enjoying the coaches as they have shared. And tonight we have one of my favorite coaches out of Tennessee, Miss Dolly, as I love to call her. So get your pen and paper so you can take notes, because this is a great conversation we're about to have. Miss Dolly, why don't you come on in and tell everybody about yourself?
Hi, everyone. Of course, my name is Dolly Greer. I actually started out on this journey with my mentors, Jaquay and Timothy Glenn from Light. And then, of course, Miss Rita, she actually gave me an opportunity to become a Master Force life coach. And that really shifted a whole lot of things in my life. So, right now, I'm currently, like I said, I'm still a musician. I love music. And I actually started a live video on Facebook as far as a podcast. It's called, the first one was Louise Life Lesson. And then after that was a spinoff of Daytime Tea with Dolly B. Is where I just share things that I have learned from Master Force and just life in general, bringing different topics to my community and to others as I've learned across different platforms, and we just have a general conversation. So, of course, and there's some other projects that I love to do, but that's just the beginning and the start of where I got my start from.
And I've seen you out there having people sing. You did the
Yes,
voice coaching,
yes,
and
yes, ma'am.
I
Yes, ma'am.
love that because
Yes,
it's so
ma'am.
important to help people stir up what they love about their.
Yes, ma'am.
No, they'll just sit back and do nothing. But if you come and say, "Hey, we want the Sopranos, we want to,"
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
it
yes.
gets them moving. So thank you
Oh,
for doing that.
yes. Yes, ma'am. That was so much fun to actually people I have played for or met along the way.
Yeah.
And just to bring them together, just to have fun. Nothing perfect, nothing serious. And oh my gosh, they have made the most, I mean, literally soulful connection. They're
Yeah.
still, yes, one, they'll still call each other if something happens, whether it's a graduation or something
Oh,
happened, they still reach out to each other and they just build their own community around it. So that you are so right, Miss Ria. And we're doing another one. It'll be a tenor one. It'll be all men. It'll be all men this
wow.
time.
All right, I'll
So
be looking
yeah.
out for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so let's get about Louise Hay, because this is one of those books somebody in the coaching group gonna talk about every single day, right?
Right, right.
So tell me what inspired you about this book that you wanted to share it with everyone during this series.
Um, well, I'm gonna say at the time that I was dealing with some things. I was dealing with something that had came about in my life. It started with my family, and I didn't know it. It started with my grandmother. My grandmother she used to experience panic attacks and mental nervous breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, as I got older, I started experiencing those as well. And I think Timothy, my brother, recommended this book to me. And then after that, Miss Reedy reinforced it. She reinforced it so much, and it has helped me. And so, what really inspired me is looking at the root of where it started
Yes.
and realizing that I was participating with it with my thoughts and how I was actually participating. I'm just going to say participating in life in general.
Yes.
And so when I went back and started, kind of digging off into my family history, that I saw that and I was like, wow. So it just took me on a journey of just, like I said, looking and seeing how, this has affected us for, not just one generation, but many. And how my family, let's be real about it, we still deal with those. My children, some of my girls have been dealing with those. And so I referred them to this book and,
Right.
just looking at the thought patterns and how we, create those and, and different things like that. And so that's what inspired me about this book. And you still inspired me with this book. You like, now, Miss Dolly? I'm like, yes.
Because as soon as something happened, it's like, okay, well, I can hear all of that. I went outside. No,
Right.
what is the cause according to Louise Hay?
Exactly.
And then as soon as we read it, it's like,
yes, right. Exactly. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
and we don't even realize that part of it is just actually relieving some of the childhood
Yes.
conversations that
Yes.
we kind of put on the back burner, right?
Yes. Right. 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 And I'm glad you said that. I realized that with my grandmother, what was happening with her was, she was a young mother and she was overwhelmed with taking care of so many family members that she wasn't able to just take care of herself. And so that really started me with like, okay, how can I learn to take more care of myself? Because I had a tendency to overextend, and everything. And people will make you feel responsible for that. And I'm like, I'm not responsible for you. I'm responsible for me.
Well, that's
yes,
a
ma'am.
whole nother
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because if everybody take responsibility for themselves,
Yes.
what happened?
Yes.
The whole world would shift.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
The whole world would shift.
Yeah.
So now what are you able to explain to them how the book is broken down and how you actually do address it when you go into it?
Yes, and the reason why is because I've referred this book to several, recommended it to several people, and everything. And let me see how I can say this. I'll go here. So my brother Timothy, he did the human design chart on me.
Yes.
When he did that, he showed me that, in those parts, he said, you are a bridge. You bring people to a space. And I'm like, okay, so I was trying to figure what that was. And I said, you know what? How can I bring people to this space of this book? Not just, okay, this is just a basic read or something you go through, that you need to be in the space to be able to take each step through the book, to go from the beginning and then, and look through it. So I was like, how can I bring them, here versus just, okay, just read this, just kind of leave them out there.
Right.
Because it's not, it's not a novel or anything. It's something
right.
that you can pick back up anytime,
right.
you're shifting and changing.
That's right.
It is there you go, Miss Reed. It's a reference book. So that's how I actually give, them that. And some of them, they let's be real about it. Some of them you can tell that is putting the responsibility back in their lap, and everybody don't want to do that.
Everybody don't want to do that. And matter of
Don't
fact,
do it.
they'll come back to you with the same problem.
Yes, yes, they will. Yes, they will. You're exactly right.
I don't know if you've had a chance to connect the work of Bruce Lipton yet to
Mhm,
this work,
mhm,
but Bruce
mhm.
Lipton does a book called The Biology of Belief. And he
Mhm.
starts talking about the study of epigenetics,
Yes.
and where he actually confirms. Now, Louise Hay, this work was out there. I started using this work, I want to say I was 28 years old, so it's been over 30 years, right?
Right, right.
So he came out probably within the last maybe 20 years, or maybe
Mhm.
less than that, I don't know. But he was talking about the science has
Yes,
proven
yes,
that you can use words to
yes. What?
change your DNA structure.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And
And
so genetically, we don't
that
have to be connected to what our parents.
no, no. And that's the thing. I'm glad you said about the words because I do believe at one time, it might not have been too long ago. You posted a video that I think somebody might have shared with you about how we use words,
Mm-hmm.
and so and how we've been taught the English language.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, I think in that video it was talking about just the simple word hello
Oh,
and
yeah.
how it's used, and I was sitting there like, oh, or morning,
Yeah.
just that word itself. And so I began to kind of look at that and be like, how do we even shape, our beginning of our day with certain words? And like you was talking about the DNA and everything, and it's just like you said, it's what we've been taught, and now it's a new way of learning. So
It's a
you are
new
so
way.
worried about the
That's right.
words.
We have to unlearn, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah. And so with Louise Hay, she actually says, well, if you got a symptom, look at the symptom.
you
And
look at the
the symptom
symptom.
is going to point to, you know, what's going on with you
Yes, ma'am.
emotionally,
Right.
psychologically, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
here's the affirmation, and now use that affirmation
Yeah.
as many times. And listen, Miss Dolly, when I first started using this book, most of my affirmations, everything came to I love and approve of myself.
Oh, that part.
I had to write it 1,000 times a
Yes.
day. That was
Yeah.
my work because I
Yeah.
was so screwed up
Yes.
in my head.
Yes.
And I had
Yes.
to write it. And so that was in the morning, I wrote it. The
Yes.
noon, I wrote it.
Yes.
Work, I wrote it. You understand?
Yes.
And
Yes, ma'am.
wrote it.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
love and approve of myself had to
Yes,
be,
ma'am.
because we literally discount who we are constantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Now,
That was one of the
that
things
was one of
that
yours too. What was one of your
yeah, that was
favorites?
one of the things. It was the part of, a quote. And I when I wrote that, it took me back of how y'all taught us EFT.
Oh yeah.
And that is when you're tapping, is that even though this
Even
is
though.
occurring, I
Mhm.
love and approve of myself. And just saying that, I didn't realize how powerful. I mean, how you can just disconnect yourself from, I'm so stuck in what I did wrong or
Come
what I
on.
did that
Yes.
I don't even love myself or approve myself to say, it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
We
But
unknowingly punish ourselves, and I
yes,
if we had a conversation before years ago about the whole reward and punishment system that's
yes.
put in place, and that's
Mhm.
just straight up slavery.
Right, it is.
Punish somebody or reward them.
Right,
You know,
right,
people
right.
responsible. Being responsible is.
Mhm,
I can get
mhm,
you to see that this is what happened, and you take responsibility. Why would I have to
mm.
punish you?
Right. Yes. Perfect.
You
Perfect.
know.
And that,
So
yes, ma'am.
yeah. So now tell me, can you give us any examples in your own life where you were dealing? You told us about the panic attacks. Were there
Mhm,
other
mhm,
ones? Because I'm gonna tell you, when I went through that book in the
mhm,
back of the book, right?
yes.
I had made my own separate little book
You already there you go.
Just a little bitty
Yes,
book,
ma'am.
and all it
Yes, ma'am.
was the symptom and the affirmation. Because
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't
There
even know
you
what
go.
the cause was. I got it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
wherever
ma'am.
I was, I pull out that little book, and I
Mhm. Right, right. Yes, ma'am.
and Miss Dolly, I went back to, even if I wasn't dealing with that symptom anymore, I
I'm gonna look it up.
still, I'm like,
I know, right? That and I actually the one thing that I'm actually now having to talk to people about diabetes. And
yeah,
that and especially with, like I said, just being real our culture. And when I look at that, people that I see experiencing that is because of the sweetness and the joy that they have just, just it's they feel like it's gone. And I'm like, it's not. So you're replacing this sweetness in this food and all these thoughts and everything. You don't even think sweet thoughts. It's like it's like we're so cold hearted and we don't know how to speak sweetly. One thing that I was talking to my partner Maurice, and I said, when we got together, you should talk so soft and sweetly to me. And he was like, I did. I'm like, yes, and I'm like, that is your natural state. So but I understand that life comes and it, like I said, it seemed like to take the sweetness and the joy out of it. But no, you don't have to eat or replace that with anything. Learn to be sweet to yourself, learn to be joyful within yourself. And then I was just telling a friend this morning, and then you'll see your insulin balance, you'll see the sugar, you'll see all of that balance. And she was like, I never thought about it. Yes, and so that's the one thing I recognize with, people that come to me and like I said, like you was talking about the symptom and the affirmation, started using those and just affirm something different
absolutely.
within that. So I'm
Because
glad you brought that up.
and diabetes is so, and I think it just says in your life, no more sweetness. You believe no more sweetness is left. There's no more sweetness in your life. Can you imagine that you think that there's no more sweetness left in this whole world? But
Whole world.
we're not even consciously saying that.
Mm-mm.
It's our experience of that. We don't experience sweetness. So what
We
do
do
we
not.
do? We go get a piece of cake. We go get some cookies. We go get some chocolate.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be bothered with this. We don't want to be bothered
Don't
with
be
that.
bothered with that.
Go eat
Yeah.
some candy.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that. And people tickle me. That's my weakness. That's my weak. I'm like, you're even speaking. No, but I can't. I can't. Yes. You're even connecting your words to it.
And that's why we do the whole MEPS, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, because mental, you're thinking it, emotionally, you're talking it, you're feeling it, physically, you're eating it. But the other thing you could do when you have a sugar crave, that means your chromium is low.
Yes.
Chromium. Right. So you can make sure you add chromium. I take chromium every morning with my
Thank you.
Right.
You
can also I add cinnamon to my coffee every morning. Cinnamon balances your blood sugar.
It does.
I take a shot of chlorophyll every day, which also helps to balance your blood sugar.
Yes.
So, I drink lemon water every morning.
Yes.
So we have to do these hacks.
Right.
But Miss Dolly, for yourself, it's a 24-hour job.
It's a 24-hour job. It does take care of yourself. And that's what I feel like people don't feel like they deserve to take the space, to take up space. Just take up the space. You deserve to take up your own space.
Yeah.
And I'm so, like you said, it's, and I'm just looking and I when you was talking about how, when I began to look at my family and everything and how they say things and how they're living.
Yeah.
Not just living, not, and so I was like, you know what? Choosing to live a different reality.
Absolutely.
And like you said, 24 hours is check-ins with myself, check-ins. Like you said, not the reward, not the punishment, but the check-ins just with myself, So I had to tell them when they're oh, you can eat this. No, I can't. I choose not to right now.
I choose not to. And you know what? And when if I do choose it, because when I'm with my grandchildren, we're doing something, I might everybody, okay, y'all, we're gonna have a shot of chlorophyll when we finish with these jelly beans.
Yes, right. There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
again, that's to the balance out, baking
Yes.
soda and water,
Yes.
teaspoon in a glass of water
Yes.
served to you.
Yes.
That will bring everything. It alkalines the body
It back
instantly.
on the body. Yes, ma'am.
And most
Yes,
of
ma'am.
us would rather eat all of that stuff and then go to the
Yes, ma'am.
and say, fix me.
Yeah, fix me. Oh, and believe what they're saying. And that was another thing, Miss Rita. I noticed most of the jobs that I have been on, whenever I would take something in there healthy, do you know they would either criticize or pick at me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a
And
crap
I'm like,
there.
it is. Woo. And I'm like, you mad at me?
Because I'm trying to do something better for my health.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
But
Wow.
I get that too, Miss Dolly. I live in a 55 and older building, and sometimes people are like, you walk around here like you a little teeny bopper.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Why would you have a problem with that?
Exactly. Oh,
I don't even know these people like
hey,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know you. Just
Do
because
you
I'm
live here?
choosing to live my high vibrational life, I don't know you.
Yes. And this is what we're about. We want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
really not only help everybody live a high
Right.
vibrational life, but we
Right.
want to demonstrate what that
Yes.
looks like.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That was another thing that was in my, and when I was actually putting my notes together, you cannot change anybody until you change yourself
Yes.
first. And like you said, just, I'm the demonstration. I am the product. I am, if I'm going to be out here to sell anything or promote anything, it has to start with me. I have to become that
Come on. It has,
before.
it's how you going to tell somebody, oh, go read this book, but I just like the title. I haven't
Right.
even cracked it open.
You ain't right.
I haven't
Yes,
cracked it open.
ma'am.
I think it would be a good book for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We're sharing books that we have read and it has demonstrated that it works very effectively.
Yes, 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 ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
So,
yeah. So go ahead. What else you want to say about the book?
um, another thing was talking about. Oh my goodness. So, what really helped me again was when you, Miss Rita, you have a way of putting that thing back in your lap. And I remember I would call you and you'd be like, you know what, Miss Dolly, you can, nobody's coming to save you. And I would be like, okay. And so I got so tickled at that because at the time you know what, I'm like, she's so right. She is so right. So the biggest thing that really helped me is when you were teaching at one time and you said, y'all, it's the way you say, like, we chose our parents. And I'm looking around like, who chose their parents? I ain't chose nobody. But then this confirmed that, oh my gosh. And then not only did you, present that, you were like, I want y'all to look at that. And it made me go back and look, okay, why did I choose them after I had children? Because then I had to look at why they chose me.
That's
And
right.
then it took me on the path that after you started that, it took me on that path of that book called The Soul Contract. Because most of the time when you would give something, it was always a book there available to take it
Oh
further.
yes. Oh yes.
And so that right there taught me how to be responsible for me
Yes.
and look at, what I need to do in this lifetime for me.
Yes.
Not blame my mother, not blame my father. I'm doing a conversation now on father and mother wounds. And that thing right there just really opened up how they're not here for me to blame.
That's right.
That's how my work is actually expanding itself.
Right.
And they are here, even I looked at my children, they're just here to teach me.
That's right.
So taking responsibility and taking accountability for my own life
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing, was that you chose your parents. And I'm just looking at them, and I had to go back and look, how were they raised?
How were
You
they
know,
raised? And you know,
yeah.
Miss Dolly, that's really good because when I'm teaching a couple school, you know, one of the first sessions is to get a blueprint of your parents, right? And then one of the exercises is, you know, when you were a child, what were some of the illnesses that your parents were
Mm,
dealing with?
mhm,
And so
mhm,
when you list
mhm,
those for your mother
mhm,
and your father, and then
mhm,
you look at Louise Hay
mhm.
and you see the root cause,
Yes.
now you can almost see I'm going down that path
Yeah. Oh,
in my
yes.
own thoughts.
In my own thoughts. Own
So you get to
thoughts.
disconnect that
Hmm.
immediately because you
Yes.
want to allow the work to come through. But if we're not examining the wound, as you're saying,
Hmm.
not examining that with the idea that we're responsible for getting the
Yes.
work, then
Yes.
that's all of that. And you will
Right.
end up
Right.
getting sick and saying, oh, it's hereditary. What
Yes. Yes. Yes.
hereditary?
Yes. Yes. And that's my family had they had an issue, and I had to literally correct them. They had an issue with saying, well, you're going to be like your grandmother. You're going to be sick. You know, one of the issues I had, the reason why I never left home was because they kept telling me I was going to get sick.
Yeah.
So I had this fear built up in me. I better not leave home because something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I finally had to not only take back my power for that, but to allow my children to be able to live their lives
Yes,
without putting that fear on them.
that's
And
right.
I was like, oh my goodness, and I was like, just how, and another thing, Miss Rita, when I really did go back and look at where all of the because you always taught me about the breathing. And I couldn't
Oh,
understand that when those panic attacks happen and when those anxiety attacks and whatever, that it was a part of my breath. It was like, okay, you would always tell me, breathe in your core, breathe in your
yes,
center.
right.
And I remember going back, and I remember my mother just speaking and saying, you were put in an oxygen tent when you were a baby.
Wow,
And
Miss
that's the reason, because
Dolly.
I couldn't breathe. And I said, look here. So just going down, like you're talking about, going back, looking at the childhood patterns of your parents, but just asking yourself, just how you came here as a baby.
And
What
wait,
did you
and you touched on it
experience?
earlier too. You said, what was your mother going through
Ooh,
when
going through.
you were in the womb? Because you came from
Yes.
the womb into that
Yes.
very environment.
Yes, ma'am.
And if
Yes,
they weren't
ma'am.
conscious enough, and you know, I'm telling you, our parents did the best they could.
They did. That's
They
it.
really did with
Yes,
the
they did.
information that they had. They did
Yes.
tremendous that many
Yes,
of us
they
are
did.
still alive, you know, because
Yes,
I
well,
know I could have been easily knocked over by some of the stuff.
yes, me
I was
too.
very challenging,
I know, right, Miss Rita?
baby,
I know. I'm like you.
you know. So the fact that we're still here,
Mhm.
you know, means that we have a chance to heal our life, but we also get to heal generations beyond, you know, back our ancestors,
Yes.
because they get
Yes.
to see us, Miss Dolly,
Yes, they do.
to learn and say, "Oh, I could have did it like that."
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So when
Yes,
they have the
ma'am.
opportunity to come back, they
Yes,
can
ma'am.
use what they're learning from us and
Right.
apply it to their next life so that they don't have to get into this continuous recycling.
Right. Exactly. And
Because
then
we're not
that's
here
it.
to stay here. We're not here to just stay on earth. We got other levels and dimensions to get to.
And that's the biggest thing. I think that's what we get so caught up,
Yeah.
like you said here, that, we forget that, like I said, that we have so much more to do and assist
Yeah.
others,
So much.
so, and that's my thing is, and to be open to it,
Yeah.
but that was the biggest thing, is when she said that to me, I kind of sat and I'm like, okay, now I see. And just allowing my mother, and that's the biggest thing, is I'm learning now to allow her to be a woman, and I get to experience her from that space.
Wow. Not
And
just your
so,
mother. That's right.
yes, yes.
That's
And
right.
so I just, and that was the biggest thing, is, just listening to her now, and just, you know, even when she gets nervous and begin to have the panic attacks, that I can come in and incorporate what you taught me. Just breathe, mother. That at that time you might not have been able to, but now we can come together and breathe and
Wow.
go back into our core and
Mhm.
get centered and grounded and see that nothing is here to harm us. It's here to help us. So that was the biggest lesson that I took away from just that, you know. And then when they do come, you know, I'm like, okay, I know what I need to do.
That and then of course there's our Bach flower remedy because rest
Yes,
remedy, walnut, agrimony, all of
all
those,
that.
so
Yes,
I'm grateful for this work, and it really does mean a lot, because in this community we get to support each other,
yes, ma'am.
go together,
Yes, ma'am.
in a
Yes,
sin
ma'am.
together, and
Yes,
be
ma'am.
mirrors for one another, reflect
Yes.
grace.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, Miss Dolly. Do you
You're
have
welcome,
any
Ray.
final words for our listeners?
I I want to share this because, of course, you know, I know Master Force have. I really want to tell y'all thank you for everything that you've done, for supporting, you know, me and my family, for and my friends, on this side. When my brother passed, but my brother Timothy Glenn was, of course, a Master Force, and I want to say this. In the book, I noticed when I was, you know, just going back, writing down some notes, I remember one of the things that it would say would be, in the affirmation, was the infinity of life where I am is perfect, whole, and complete. And it starts out like that, you know, in the affirmation. And I remember that when he would post, because of course, you know, that when you had a birthday or a celebration or just anything, you know, that was one thing that he would say is infinite blessings. And
Mm,
I thought about that and I'm like, man, the message that he left was just to be infinite, limitless, boundless,
limited.
nothing. And to just, and I was like, wow, you know, we limit ourselves, like you said, with our beliefs and our patterns
Mhm.
and and everything until, you know, just experiencing life is, like you said, it's just infinite. It
And
doesn't have to be boxed in or a certain way, or, you know. And so I just look at now, even, you know, the book about the You Can Heal Your Life, it's just, it's an infinite healing. It's just ongoing. It has, you know, like you said, going to the doctor and they give you a quick fix, or letting somebody diagnose it don't, that it's like learning infinitely all over again, that I'm still perfect, that I'm still complete, I'm still whole, no matter what I'm experiencing.
that's
And
right.
that has been my biggest take, with all of this, is that, you know, he is still continuing to live in an infinite place, and I can do that
And
as
he's
well.
still present.
And he's
Absolutely.
still present. Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am. So I
Absolutely.
really wanted to tell you all thank you with that. And like I said, this is so much. If anybody decided to read this book, it's so much. That's the reason why I said just coming into a space and not just picking up as a quick read. Because like you said, it's such a good reference. And you know, yeah, and I think I'm gonna go back and read it again.
I know. And then, she has the smaller version, Heal Your Body, that just that little blue book. And that one just has all the symptoms in it. This
Okay.
one kind of tells the story of her life and the, symptoms, but there's just a little small one. I used to have both, but
Okay.
me, I've moved so much, I
Yes.
would carry my books with me.
Yes, that's right, right. I understand it, Miss Rita. Yes,
I'm on
ma'am.
my iPad. Whenever I can get on my iPad.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Right. I understand that. I'm like, I got the audible, and I'm like, every time, the journals and the books is what my kids like. Who can? You know, I have a friend that's all she does is buy me journals. I'm like, you want me to do more work? Huh?
That's
She said
right.
it's
That's
either
right.
a book or a journal. So I'm like, and I, you know, and for me, that's a love language. You know, just to learn and expand, you know, in our own knowledge and wisdom. It's just a joy. It is. It
Joy.
is. Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you so much for
Yes,
sharing
ma'am.
and being here. And I look forward to, other episodes and other conversations. And I'll
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
be looking for you with tea with Dolly B,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And come
Thank
on
you.
in. Like, yes, come on
Come on
in.
in.
Anybody come in, just come on in. You're going to get some tea, that's for sure.
We're going to get some tea,
You're going
okay?
to get some tea. Yes, right.
You definitely, you know how to reach me if you need anything, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Same here. I love you, Miss Rita. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes. And for the
Yes, ma'am.
rest of you, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. We love to read from Master Force Coaches podcast. Thank you.